This is going to be video number 7, and in this particular video I'm going to show you how to use the file manager effectively. FTP is not the only way to upload your files. You might have heard of FTP software, which is basically a file transfer protocol software that enables you to transfer files. Now, if you're not aware of this and it sounds a little bit complex, then don't worry about that. That's the whole goal of this particular video. In fact, cPanel's file manager not only allows you to upload your files, everything from zip files and all of that, but you can also delete files. You can create directories, you can create and extract zip files, you can even edit files within this program, and so much more. So by showing you this, I think this will simplify your life a little bit. And this is great in addition to that, especially if you need to install web scripts like PHP scripts. And best of all, you can do it without any fancy software like we talked about earlier, the FTP software, and you can do it on any computer that has access to the internet. So let me go ahead and jump right in and show you how it works. So you should see the file manager at the very top. The icon might be different, like I said earlier, but the file manager name will be the same. So click on that. It's going to open up a separate window. And I will warn you, you have to be very, very careful when you move your mouse, because you could potentially move a file, a folder into the wrong folder or what have you. So just keep that in mind. Be very, very careful while you're in here. So right now I'm in a website, and you're going to see all these different folders here. The key to remember is that some of you will see public_HTML, and some of you might see HTTP docs. Now, if you're unsure about where the files should be located, you'll need to contact your web hosts, because some web hosts companies will put it in a certain directory. But for the majority of you, it should say public_HTML. So this should be the magic folder that holds all the files that show up on your website. All of the rest of the folders here may pertain to your email system, to files that are related to other than what people actually see. So we're going to click this here. And right off the bat, you see a bunch of WP-, which basically tells you there's WordPress site inside here. But if we scroll down here, I want to show you there are a number of things that we can do. So inside this folder, we can create a new folder. So if we want to do that, we can click Folder, and we can type the new folder. So create new folder. And what we could do in this folder is we could double click it just like you would on a PC or a Mac computer where we're creating folders. So same thing. But in this case, we can upload files, so we can click on upload. And you can drag and drop files into here, or you can simply click select file and upload files via there. So in this case, I can select an image, click open, and that'll upload the image. So when I'm done, I click go back to the new folder, and we can see that it is there. Now we could select a file, and you can see that other options show up. So we select a file, we can also download it. So we could click download, and it would download it to our computer. So if you had a zip file or a video file that you want to download it to your computer, you can do that. You can also delete the file. We can also compress it. So let's say we have a good number of files that we want to compress into a zip file. We can select those files or select that folder and click compress. We can click zip, compress, and it'll compress it as you can see here. So we can click that, click download, and there we go. We can also delete files. So you can select a file, click delete, skip trash, and permanently delete files. Or if we unselect it, click confirm, We could do that. We can also rename. So you could rename the file here. We can also edit. Now it is an image file, so we can't necessarily edit the image file on here. We can only edit files like text files and things like that. So let's say, for example, we'll click File, New File, and we'll just name this file.txt. You can name it whatever you want it to be. So we'll do that, and we'll click on Edit. And now you can see that we're actually able to edit this particular file because it's a text file. You can also edit HTML files. So I could even do file.html. And if you're not familiar with what HTML files are, they're basically web-based files. So we could click that. We could click HTML editor, click edit, and then you'll see the HTML editor. And then of course you can create text and increase the size and all that. So we'll exit out of that. And you can also set permissions. What permissions means is you're telling the system, okay, as a user, these are my abilities, these are my rights. I can edit the file, but the world cannot. But if you wanted the world to edit, world meaning everybody else, to do it, then you could do that. I would not recommend that. You're going to run into the situation, especially when you install scripts, especially when you upload the scripts, and it's going to ask you to change the permissions for certain files. So that's good to know right there. So that's pretty much it as far as File Manager goes. And as long as you understand those basics and understand that it operates very, very similarly to a Mac computer or a PC, then you're good to go. Welcome back. This is video number 8, and in this particular video we're going to talk about email authentication. It's about time that you learn the basics of protecting your email box from spam. So in this video you're going to learn how to use cPanel and tell cPanel to do just that and authenticate all the emails that are coming out of your domain as legitimate emails. And what this does is it protects you from other people abusing your email. And I'll show you in just a second how all of this works. So there are two things that you want to do. You want to, of course, scroll down and find the email section. But after that, you're going to want to do two things. And the first thing you want to do is Spam Assassin, which will basically protect you from spam, which will open that up in a new window. And then the next thing we want to do is we want to do what we call email authentication. And we'll open that up into a new window as well. So let's start with the Spam Assassin first. Spam Assassin basically is a mail filter. It will filter out your email. You have the ability to set it at a high and a low. So by default, it's going to do from 1 to 10. So default, it's going to do 5. The higher the number, the more conservative the settings. So you could get really granular and really block everything out. But I would caution you at that same point because at the end of the day, some of the good emails might be triggered as spam. And I've seen that over the years. Now you have the option to auto delete spam. Personally, I would not do that because, like I said, if it is good email that is triggered as spam, it will auto delete. You'll never get it. And if you rely on your email and your website and your business and all that to make money, then that's not a good thing. So usually I leave it at 5, and you can click configure to configure it further. And the only reason why you would actually need to do this is if you happen to be getting bombarded with spam from a specific person. You can enter that information here, or if you have, a whitelist from a certain domain, you can do that as well. But typically, the first step is all you really need. So now let's talk about email authentication. So let me read this to you so you understand what it's about. Email authentication helps prevent spam. How? Well, basically, what a lot of spammers do is they will hijack your domain, or they'll email from your domain, or they'll pretend to do so. So what this does is it prevents spammers from forging emails that claim to be your domain. And you want to protect your domain as much as possible, because if you end up on a blacklist, that can be potentially very, very harmful for your email deliverability. Meaning if you're emailing from that email, when the ISPs like Gmail, all these other internet service providers or email service providers see your email, they'll put it straight to the spam box. And you don't want that, right? So you want to protect as much as possible. So best to do that by clicking enable for the DKIM. And then you can enable the SPF here. So doing those two items will help you greatly as far as protecting your email and for protecting your email as far as the reputation goes in relation to the email service providers and to keep your domain whitelisted. Welcome to video number 9, and congratulations, you've reached the end of this course. We're going to talk about how to back up and restore your websites. Have you ever created a document and forgot to save it and you lose it? Think about that feeling. This is one of the worst feelings after you spent sometimes hours, sometimes days, sometimes weeks, or even months to create that document. Well, the same goes for your website. In fact, websites are even worse because sometimes you spend months, years, or even half a decade or more maintaining your website and building it up. So if you don't have a backup of your website on a frequent basis, then you are in trouble. Now, you could say, well, I'm just going to use the web host to back up my files. And that's fine, you can do it that route, but it's always good to keep a backup copy on your own computer, because there are many different scenarios, as I specified in the previous videos, that could potentially happen. And I'm not saying this will happen to you, but I'm saying that it's potentially could happen. Whereas you could have a web hosting company go bankrupt, which has actually happened to us in the past, and they go down and something happens, or something happens without your control. Or the web hosting company says, you're using too much bandwidth and we're locking your website, or locking it down until you pay more money or something. Or something happens in that realm. As long as you keep a backup on a consistent basis on your own computer, then you are safe. Now, another scenario of why you would want to do this is if you wanted to back it up and then move it to a different host. You could do this as well. So let's jump right in and let me show you how it all works. So there are two different options to backup. There's a backup and there's a backup wizard. And let me explain the differences between the two. So let's just go ahead and open these two windows up. So the first thing is backup, and this is what you see here. And what this allows you to do is it allows you to download a backup onto your computer. So rather than backing it up and storing it on your server, which yes, you could download it from there, you're downloading it straight from the server to your computer. So what you would do is simply click on download a full website backup. I'm not going to do it now because this website is big, but if you click that, it'll automatically download right away. You also have the opportunity to download just the home directory. So what this enables you to do is split things up. So let's say instead of downloading the whole thing, you're just telling the system, oh, I just want to download what's inside the home directory. I don't want to download the emails or everything else, the MySQL databases and all that. Now, you can also download the MySQL databases separately. Let's say that you already have everything. You just want the database. Well, that gives you the option to do that. So we could go here and click here, and it'll automatically download just the MySQL database or just the email forwarders. So that's what backup is all about. Downloading it straight from the server to your computer via a zip file. Now, Backup Wizard, on the other hand, allows you can either do a partial backup right here, but if you do a full backup, you can specify the backup destination, which this will basically back it up and store it on your server in a specified destination. And of course, you can enter your email address if you want it to notify you when it is complete. Now, I like to do this because it stores it on the server, but when it's done, it gives you the option to actually download it to your computer as well. So you could have the option to have it on your computer and to have it on the server just in case anything were to happen. Now, in a different scenario where you would have maybe move to a different host, you can easily ask the other host to log into your cPanel and transfer your site to their server. You could either do that or you could do it yourself. I like to keep backups myself at all times. And even though they offer those services at your convenience, you never know what will happen with the web hosting company. And you never know what situation you might be in. So always keep a backup. Try to do backups at least once a week or once a month at minimum. Now, if you do the backup wizard, you've backed everything up and it is sitting in your home directory and you want to restore it, you can either ask your web hosting company to do it for you, or you can do it yourself and do it really quick. You can simply click on restore and you can select the type that you want. So we'll do home directory. And the final step is to either choose the restore your backup, upload the file here and restore it from here. Or if it is sitting on your server, you can also ask your web hosting company and say, hey, I've got a backup sitting in the home directory, and if you would please restore it. And they can do that for you. That's typically better because a lot of times web hosting companies, they'll back it up once a week or whatever. But if you have your own backup, maybe you did it right before you made a big change, then you can do it based on your own change. So before you do that major change, you've backed it up and you can do it from there. Otherwise, you'll have to rely on whatever the web hosting company has backed up for you.